Nagyon szépen köszönöm, hogy ilyen sokan bejöttetek az előadásra. Rodolf Schmit fog előadni. Durván egy másfél éve foglalkoztunk azzal a kérdéssel, hogy találjunk alternatív piacon nem elérhető, jelenleg Magyarországon nem elérhető megoldások közül olyat, ami valamilyen szempontból újdonságot hoz azon a területen, amin mi, mint SafeSoft Kft. Disztribúcióként erősek vagyunk, ez a terhelés elosztás, Web Application Firewall terület, és rátaláltunk az Array Networks-re, ami abból a szempontból érdekes és hoz talán újat a technológiában, hogy egy olyan hardware platformot nyújt, amit kifejezetten nagy teljesítményű, titkosítást igénylő hálózatokban lehet alkalmazni. Tehát nagyon elterjedt a virtualizáció a biztonság területén is, de óriási áldozatokkal jár performancia szemszögéből. Nem hiába, nagyon-nagyon sok helyen nem lehet egy az egyben kiváltani hardware eszközt szoftver eszközre, akkor sem, hogyha funkcionalitásban, management szempontjából sokkal kényelmesebb lenne, mert nem viszi el az alatta levő általános infrastruktúra azt, amit megkövetel. Ugye, mint 10-20 évvel ezelőtt, a terhelés elosztásban is HTTP vagy titkosítatlan kapcsolatok jellemeztek. Ma lényegében nincsen titkosítatlan kapcsolat, és azon belül is valamiféle tartalombiztonsági vizsgálatra van szükség. Most a Rodolf egy olyan technológiát fog megmutatni, ami úgy támogatja a virtualizációt, egy olyan platformmal, ami mindeközben teljesítményveszteség nélkül tudja hozni ugyanazokat a teljesítményelvárásokat, mintha nem lenne bekapcsolva titkosítás az adott protokollon. Kérem, hallgassátok meg Rodolfot, és ha kérdésetek van utána, akkor szívesen mi megválaszoljuk kint magyarul, vagy ő angolul. Jó? Ennyi lett volna a részemről a bevezető.
Good one. Thank you, Tibor, for the introduction. I must admit that I fully agree with what you have said. Specifically, I haven't understood a word. So, guys, thank you for being here, ladies and gentlemen, basically. My presentation will be obviously in English, so be reassured it's not my native language. So if there is something that you don't understand, just raise the finger and I will be more than happy to re-explain it again. As Tibor said, my name is Rodolf Schmit. I'm working for this company called Array Networks. And personally, I'm based in Belgium, very near Brussels. Just a few words about Array Networks if you don't know the company. We are an American headquartered company in Milpitas, so the Silicon Valley. For those who have been there already, we're just, across the road from Cisco. Cisco is almost a city in San Jose, and we are we are surrounded by a lot of Cisco offices in Milpitas. We are employing about 250 people worldwide. We have an EMEA team of about 50 people right now. And the product we do offer, the product we do serve in the markets are essentially what we call today ADC, Application Delivery Controllers, and also we have solution for SSL VPN. But the speech of today, my presentation today, will be essentially talking about the network platform. This is a new concept that we have introduced now about 2.5 years ago. Underneath you see some quite big references we have. One of the largest we have in the world is SoftLayer. SoftLayer does probably not ring a bell to you, but they have been acquired by IBM about almost 3 years ago. And it is the second largest MSP in the world. You know who the number one is? MSP worldwide? Amazon. Okay, so SoftLayer is number 2, and they are fully now integrated into the IBM organization. They use about 4,500 APVs. from Array, so our load balancer. Kroll is another MSP. There's a European company with nodes in Paris, in Hamburg, and in London. Oracle, you will know, it's one of our largest references we have for the SSL VPN. All the internal employees working with the SSL VPN solution for the mobile users, for the laptops, for the desktops. They use the SSL VPN solution from Array. They have a big node in Munich. And of course, it's a Californian-based company. So on this slide, you see the product portfolio that we do offer. For you guys on your left-hand side, we have the traditional appliances, the traditional hardware, right? We have the ADC, we have the AG for the SSL VPN. It gives you this always on best user experience, maximum performance. You have a high degree of scalability for enterprise customers or for data center, whatever. In the middle, we have this network function platform, really to deliver hyper-converged and virtualized security and networking functionality. This is going to be the topic of today. You can use it as an enterprise customer, but also this offer is valid for MSP. People, organization, like eventually SoftLayer, that are currently testing the solution to offer networking and security as a service, as an infrastructure as a service. And all the product we have, that's on the right-hand side for you guys, every product we have is also existing as a virtual solution, as a software solution. So the trends we have seen, why we're moving, a lot, that's a clear trends we see in a lot of regions in the world. Customers are getting a little bit fed up by stacking all those appliances, you know. Then you have a rack full of appliance hardware. Behind you have a spaghetti with all the cables and connections or whatever, and it's just starting to be a mess. So the trend is really moving towards virtualization, putting virtual machines, putting virtual solution onto server and work differently. So with this network function platform that Array has launched about 2.5 years ago, well, really with the ecosystem, because the platform is ready, it's prepared, not just to host Array solution, Array products, but also third-party vendor can be integrated and are actually integrated. So we're creating the sort of new foundation for the future. Now, why have we done that? We were not the only company thinking about these trends, but it was also heavily reported by Gardner, this American analyst company. And look at the numbers here. They have produced that report about 2.5 years ago. It was between 2016 and 2017. The blue color underneath, those were in volume, the numbers of ADC hardware that got sold between 2012 and 2019, the prediction. You see that in terms of volume sales, the ADC had reached a peak between 2014 and 2015. Since then, it's on the decline, right? It's absolutely on the decline. Look at the green bar. Those were these traditional server load balancing. There was a market for it in the early days, 2012, 2013, doesn't exist any longer. Nobody buys just a server load balancer. People need some more sophisticated, so that's the reason why they moved to ADC, Complete Application Delivery Controller. On the rise, however, you see that the virtual ADCs and even the virtual ADCs for the MSP are completely booming. If we consider now the pros and the cons, we have to do that, right? We have to consider the pros and the cons from a virtual solution. Now, on the pro, easy, flexibility and agility. You just buy a solution for eventually, and the majority of our competitors are also doing this. You can have a monthly subscription, you can have a quarterly subscription, you can have an annual subscription, or you can have perpetual license. That means that you just buy a solution for what you need today, what you need to employ and use for the next 3 months or 6 months. After that, if the project is done, you don't need it, you don't renew the license, you take something else. You put another solution in place. So you have absolutely a great facility, agility, to use what you really need for a specific project. You are not locked into just one single vendor. You have a choice of several vendors. And of course, reducing this appliance aspect, which you don't need any longer, you have a tremendous win in space, cooling, and power electricity consumption. However, on the cons, performance. A software solution will never give you the same level of performance than a piece of hardware, than a dedicated piece of hardware. That's a clear fact, right? Skills deficit. You need to get your people trained on the different hypervisor environments. The more solution you're going to put on a virtual system, you might run into troubleshooting issue, isolating where there is a default, where there's an error. Let's assume you have a web application firewall on one server, a load balancer on another server, a next generation firewall on another server. It's getting fairly complicated to isolate where the trouble is. And then the last point are the hardware hidden cost. Maintaining several hypervisor has a certain cost. It's absolutely not free of charge. What we have done with the platform, we have combined the trade-off from both worlds, right? You have in the middle a very sophisticated piece of hardware. It gives you the guaranteed performance. It gives you the resources to every single virtual image you put, and you have a fully virtual but multi-tenant environment. The way it works, that's a sort of architectural slide of the network platform we have. On the white part above, this is your shared environment, okay? So what you can do, you can mismatch several types of VMs, virtual machines. And you can start from, you can really mismatch those, right? So you can start with up to 32 entry-level VMs. You start with the higher machine with 4 large, 8 medium, 16 small, and up to 32 entry-level type of VMs. In terms of functionality, what you can add, above there, you see you can deploy ADC, you can deploy DDoS, you can deploy SLVPN, and third-party vendor that we have certified for the platform. You pay as you grow, I mentioned that. You just purchase the function you need for a certain given period of time, or eventually perpetual. This is up to you. And on the management side, it's very pretty damn easy. It's supported by the vast majority of the MNS and also the RESTful API. Underneath the black part of it is the hardware piece that we are providing with the platform. Gives you the dedicated performance. Why? Because every single VM that you are going to deploy in the box will have its dedicated resources. What do I mean by that? It will have the dedicated numbers of CPU, you can dedicate the size of the RAM, and you can dedicate the NIC interface ports that you need. And this gives you the guaranteed performance. I always thought that I have to click on a PC, but it's true. I have the remote control. Multi-tenant and consolidation. So for internal customer, for instance, you got your IT department acting like a service provider for a private cloud, right? They need to provide agility in the way that they have to sustain different projects in the organization, in the company, different departments. So they will become much more agile and flexible to offer robust and on-demand services. That's one aspect. The other aspect is MSP, Managed Service Provider. What they're going to be looking for is to provide eventual load balancer, but also SSL VPN to guarantee the access to the infrastructure and provide this as an infrastructure as a service. And this in order to best serve their different customers. In terms of configuring the box, it's very simple. Web UI. We did a test recently in Spain, replacing, do we have F5 in the room? There's nobody from F5, right? Replacing F5 boxes in Spain with integrated WAF. So we offer that solution with load balancer, VAPV, and our own WAF. Or we also offer the WAF from Positive Technology. Configuring a pair of unit, we just need a pair of unit. The big IP that needs to replace is 4 units. It took the engineers about 1 day to configure a pair of AVX with VAPVs and WAF. Configuring the big IP, it takes them 3 days to configure all the load balancer stuff and the WAF portion of it. So you got, for the compute-intensive VADC function, right? If you have a use case requiring server load balancing, link load balancing, global server load balancing, SSL VPN, SSL termination, SSL offloading, just one VADC cannot handle all that traffic, all that load, right? It's impossible. You got a degradation of performance if you put one virtual ADC handling all those features. So what you can do is distribute those ADC functionality amongst different VMs, virtual images, virtual solution, on just one single piece of hardware. In terms of configuring, well, that's an example here. I have to install a big, large VAPV, a big, large load balancer. And I need to have guaranteed SSL performance. So I need to rely on the SSL termination being done on hardware. For this large VAPV, I can allocate 4 virtual CPU, and through the configuration tool, the Web UI, you just click, you select the numbers of VAPV you need, CPU you need, and it's done. Then you configure, or you click the size of the memory you want to allocate for this VAPV. You can allocate the numbers of VFs, the SSL VPN, and the numbers of import, output, NIC interface card. Another example, if you have different intense feature that needs to be configured, VDNS, VSSL VPN, VWAF, VADC, for every single instance, you have the possibility to allocate the appropriate resources you need. So, how can Array help? It's really a software-centric approach, and you got all the agility which are adherent to that. Simplified deployment, for instance, you are avoiding this mapping issue you have between virtual ports and physical ports. You don't have the issues with the CPU pinning. It's pretty easy to configure to install a box like this. Any questions so far? I mentioned that we have an ecosystem and the platform is open to host other vendors' technology. On the left-hand side for you, you see the solution that are available from Array, the ADC, the SSL VPN, and the WAN optimization, but also the WAF is part of it. In the middle, we have third-party vendors that we have either tested or either certified. Certified we have Fortinet, the 40 next generation, what's it, FortiGate, I guess, next generation firewall from them, Hailstone, and Palo Alto. On the website, web application firewall, certified we have Positive Technology. We have our own WAF, which is coming from California, from our headquarters. We are also currently testing, it's not really certified for the moment I'm talking, but Imperva. I have shown even there F5. So long the virtual images available from the third parties are working or supported under KVM. Why KVM? That's the hypervisor giving us the best performance. Okay? And F5 works. They have a virtual solution working under KVM. We have tested it, it works. And the platform is also prepared and ready for Linux solution too. Just think about uncertain possibility you can imagine to do with a solution like this. Be creative and invent what we call service training. Example number one here is a policy-based chain, flow chain. The example number one shows you that you have a Palo Alto, eventually, next generation firewall. It passes through the VXAG for the SSL VPN users connecting through an SSL agent. And then the traffic pass over a virtual load balancer, which will then balance the traffic on the appropriate server. Very easy. But fact is that you can put those three different solutions, firewall, SSL VPN, and load balancer in one just single platform. The second example is even better. You know, you should be aware that firewalls, next generation firewalls, but specifically WAF or a device like SIEM, Event Manager, they have problem to analyze encrypted traffic. Problems, what I mean by that, it takes them a little bit more CPU time consuming to be able to fish exactly what's in those encrypted packets. So with this policy chain, what you can do eventually, you come in with your traffic through the Palo Alto, then you have an SSL interception. That's the new feature that we have launched about a year ago, and we see that more and more, the interest, SSLI, SSL interception. This solution there will desencrypt the data, then pass it in clear text to the Imperva and to the Arbor. And then back to a VAPV who will then re-encrypt the data and pass it over to the server. We have recently mandated Tolly Group to do some performance tests on the Fortinet and on the Imperva WAF solution. The report is available. You can ask SafeSoft to have copies of it, but it's dramatic. The throughput you win and the numbers of SSL TPS that are gained when you do run those solutions on the platform as opposed to be standalone on their own hypervisor. So how can we help today? So this is really the concept that we are promoting heavily in all parts of the world. We offer a really plug-and-play simplicity for fairly complex security and networking solution with guaranteed performance. That's a quick slide showing you the different models we have. We have brought a new generation of AVX last year, summer. That's the 800 series. The 600 series was the one we launched about 2.5 years ago. Now, just to give you an idea on what we're talking about here in terms of hardware, shows you here on this slide. AVX 5800 is the entry-level one, entry-level model. The 7800 is the middle range, and then the high end is the 9800. You have the numbers here. The entry-level model can support up to one large instance 2 medium, 4 small, or 8 entry level. The middle product, twice so much. You multiply the number from the 5,800 by 2, and the large unit, again, supports 4 times more than the entry level and 2 times more than the middle one. But look at the numbers of L4 CPS, connection per second. Look at the throughput, 40 gigabit for the entry level. That means if you deploy 8 VMs, let's assume load balancer, right? That means that every single entry-level load balancer can give you 5 gigabit of throughput, right? That's even above our own load balancer hardware and even above the entry-level model from F5. So this is serious characteristic in terms of performance and resources we have in those machines. And the big one is 160 gigabit of throughput. Let's finish this presentation. I have 3 use cases that I want to share with you. People in the world who have decided to move along with the AVX platform. The number one is a reference in China. It's called the Everbright Bank. China, if you're a little bit familiar with this culture, they have launched about 2 years ago, 2017, Black Friday selling. You're familiar with Black Friday, right? In November, it exists over here. That's one of the good stuff we inherited from America. So long they keep their president where he is, it's even better. But Black Friday was a big event in China. So the banks were anticipating just a nightmare with the online payment. That all people going, shopping at the same time, paying with credit cards, paying online, the entire system, online payment would collapse. Everbright anticipated that. They approached us, and we came with the AVX platform. Because the issue they have was that they needed to invest in between something like 20 to 30 different load balancer. And the fact is that during the idle moments, after Black Friday, after the Christmas, New Year period, what are you going to be doing with those load balancer? There's no need, right? You just need it for a certain number of days, a certain number of weeks during the year. So they have deployed in 2 different data centers, 4 units, clusters of 2 units each, only using VAPV, so the virtual ADC from Array, and this was giving them the absolute guaranteed performance, because SSL, we're talking about banking online payment, so it's HTTPS traffic. It needs to be secured, right? So the SSL handling, the SSL performance was one of the key functionality that they were looking for. And when you look to the cost, it was less than half the price of the 20 or 25 different load balancers they had to purchase. Flexibility in terms of prices was given on the fact that they are buying the VAPV license on a monthly basis. They have just a monthly licensing scheme. They pay, they renew, they don't renew, they can't use it, and then in 6 months, again, when they have Black Friday, they will be able to re-license and reactivate it, the VAPV. The second reference I want to mention is Jute. Jute is a university in India. And they had a concrete case where they needed to have installation of a next generation firewall. They needed to have SSL VPN, link load balancing, because they have 2 different providers, ISP providers. When one turns down, automatically the traffic have to be transferred on the second ISP, etc., etc. And they wanted to apply different security based on the different user groups they have. So the internal user, they got access to the SSL VPN, and the external user were filtered by the WAF. So they purchased a pair of AVX 7600s, And you know, they were capable to slide in next generation firewall from Hillstone, our own from array, VAPV and VXRG for the SSL VPN. And again, really one single platform to manage all those different sort of technology in a pair of AVXs. Less than half the cost of every single dedicated appliances. We came with an offer, we were half the price with the platform and those different VMs, and very easy, very quickly to react and to make it all configured, and very easy also to change certain requirement. If there was some change, a new requirement came, it's very easy to manage. And the last reference I want to share you, you all know Logitech, right? This computer accessory company, building, selling mouses, keyboards. They are headquartered in Taiwan. They had a project, very interesting. They wanted to replace the older voice over IP gateway. Okay, the older voice over IP gateway. They got seduced by this approach with the platform and with the inherent performance factor that we could guarantee to them. Look what they have installed. They put one unit, one AVX 7600. Inside, they slide a vSwitch from Cisco, a vRouter from Cisco, and a new voice over IP gateway. Just to allow video, conferencing, voice over IP communication amongst the employees of Logitech worldwide. Has nothing to do with the product we do, or the solution we offer, load balancers or SSL, VPN, or WAF. They put everything there from Cisco, and they're absolutely happy with the performance they have when they do the video conferencing. That was my last slide.